YouTube was on Arthur Betebiev offers Jake Paul undisputed title shot. Jake Paul reacted to the offer, saying 4 years in the sport and he runs it. Um, and Jake will never accept this fight because it ruins the money and it ruins the hope that he is. All right, first of all, Betebiev offers Jake Paul a title shot. If I'm Jake Paul, shit, I'll take it. Why not? It's somebody close to your size. You 200 something pounds, he 175 pounds. Drop your nuts, Jake Paul. Mr. I run the sport. All right, since you run the sport so much, how about you fight the top guys? But we, you know, Beterbiev, we know that he a big dude. 5'11", 6 foot, 175, can fight at cruiserweight if he needs to. But I heard Jake Paul was looking for that Canelo sweepstakes. And Beterbiev and Canelo both have 3 titles apiece. They both lost the IBF due to not fighting the mandatory. The IBF, that's why I respect the IBF. They stick to their guns. They just made Jerron Boots in this fight a mandatory. Not too long ago, they stripped Jermell Charlo. Then right after Charlo, they stripped Bud Crawford. Then right after Crawford, they stripped Canelo. Then after Canelo, they stripped Usyk. Then after Usyk, they stripped Beterbiev. They want you to fight your mandatory. They don't give a fuck what type of rematch you got, what type of rematch clause you got, who you rematching. And the crazy part is, all these dudes lost their belts to rematch clauses except Canelo and who was the other guy? And Charlo. Charlo lost his belt because he was moving up, and Canelo lost his belt, I guess, because he didn't want to fight his mandatory. I'm assuming. But yeah, these dudes they be ducking and shit. But I mean, Better Beaver ducking shit. Him and Bevo supposed to rematch, and sadly he can't defend his mandatory, so that IBF belt is gone. The IBF don't play that shit. They doing it with everybody. They taking your belt, no matter if your name Terrence Crawford, Jermell Charlo, Canelo Alvarez, Alexander Usyk, or Arthur Beterbiev. They taking your belt if you don't fight your mandatory, and it's facts. That's why Jerron Ennis just fought his mandatory because the IBF not playing with folks. And I wish every sanction about it was like that because then the sport would actually be entertaining and the top guys would fight each other or fight their mandatories instead of cherry picking like Canelo been doing. Fighting Edgar Berlanga, fighting Jaime Munguia. I forgot who he fought before Munguia. Was it Caleb Plant? Who did he fight? I don't even remember. It probably wasn't even you know, all that necessary to remember. It probably wasn't even important. But yeah, Jake said he reacted to it saying 4 years in and he run the sport. 4 years in and you've monopolized the sport for sure. You've done well financially and I respect that. I respect how well he's done financially. You can't hate a man for making money. But however, saying you run the sport and not fight any of the top guys is a direct mockery to all the guys who bleed boxing, who breed and bleed boxing. That's like going into Terrence Crawford division and saying you run this shit. And Jake Paul just fought at heavyweight, so all the heavyweights should feel disrespected and be calling him out, talking about you run this shit. I come see me. Daniel Dubois, Alexander Usyk, Martin Bakoli, Tyson Fury, Andy Ruiz, all these guys, Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, all these dudes should be telling this dude, bro, watch your mouth, bro. Who you talking to? Um, Jake Paul is monopolizing the sport. And the last time somebody monopolized the sport named Floyd Mayweather, he still had to fight a lot of the top guys. After he fought all the top guys and won all these world championships, then he started to monopolize the sport and fight mostly entertainment fights and showcase fights because we knew he would win and he would make big bags doing it. But um, I believe he beat something like 15 world champions, the most world champions ever defeated, some shit like that. So he's won a lot of world titles. He's never become undisputed, but he's unified a lot of times. And I think that's part of what makes him so great. He unifies against big names, beat them up, and just does what he says. He just Floyd May. Money Mayweather. He make money. But I wonder if Jake Paul gonna adopt the moniker Money. Is he gonna be Jake Money Jake Paul? You know, like Jake Money Paul or Money Jake Paul. This shit wouldn't even sound right. They call it monopolize because he monopolizing the sport. And a lot of the times when you had guys coming to the sport and have big fan bases and people support them financially, they would get called out. Sugar Ray Leonard got called out by Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler didn't like Sugar Ray because he thought he was just a pretty boy in the sport taking advantage. But yeah, Jake Paul is just in the sport talking crazy, talking about yeah, I run this shit, you know, not even respecting the champions. And it's all happened because the fanboys allowed it to happen. They wanted a new white hope. They didn't care how they got it. They just wanted a new white hope. And Jake Paul represents all they hope. Ever since Lomachenko lost versus Devin Haney, shit been going downhill. They need a new white hope, and that's Jake Paul. Um, and we know Jake never going to accept this fight. You know, it ruined his money and it ruins the hope. He the great white hope, the great white hype. He would never accept this fight, especially against an Eastern European or Russian. A lot of Americans literally fear Russia just because of the propaganda and the fear mongering. They literally scared of Russia. Russia this, Russia that, Russia this, Russia that. They scared of Russia because, and then you got America sending missiles to Ukraine to blow up on Russia. It's a whole bunch of bullshit. But they even told me Bivol at one point he couldn't fight on American soil or some crazy shit like that because of the war that was going on between him and Ukraine, which is crazy. That's bigoted. That's bigotry. But it just goes to show, like, you know, Jake will never accept this offer, especially against an Eastern European, a Russian, a Ukrainian who's good at because it ruins the hope. A lot of Western Europeans, they're in direct competition against Eastern Europeans. It's like the Russians and the Western Europeans, they don't like each other because Russia believes in his own shit. Russia standing with it, believe they defend themselves, and America does the same thing. But the thing with America is if they can't fearmonger people to hate you, or if they can't overpower you, then you just become a big enemy and you just a bad guy. If America can't overpower you and can't convince you to bend to his will, then you a bad guy, and they public got to know that you're a bad guy. And that's what they do to a lot of these Russians, bro. Just like how they did Bivol, told him he couldn't fight in the country. Um, just like they try to do Betebiev, calling him arrogant when he didn't want to say a lot. Um, they fear the Russians, and we know Jake Paul ain't gonna fight no Russian. We know that. He's scared to fight American heavyweights. Why would he fight somebody from another country who gives little to no shits about him? If Betebiev would punch on his own countrymen, imagine what he'll do to Jake Paul. Not Jake Paul brains on his head. Real talk. Jake Paul no better than to fight this dude, bro. Talking about you run a sport, you don't run shit. You get paid well from the sport. Cool. You don't run shit. You're no world champion. You never will be. You never have been. Until Jake Paul beats a boxing world champion who's not 60 years old, Mike Tyson, then there's not much really to say. He just, he just gonna keep making money. And I really don't care too much. I'm not bothered by it. I'm just disappointed in people who don't see through the illusionist. Yes, Jake Paul's the man. He's so good at this. Like, bro, shut your goof ass up, bro. Tell him fight Artur Beterbiev. Tell him fight Kazai. Tell him fight Tommy Fury. But and when you realize that he's the great white hope and the great white hype and he'll never do these things, then you'll start to get perspective and realize that it's all entertainment at the end of the day. So be entertained. That's all I got. Hey, like, comment, subscribe, and share this. Till next time, man.